Hi, so today's video is about this Morphe and Pony Constellation Sky palette. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but it's this palette. So Pony is a beauty YouTuber that I have watched for a very long time, and I really love her style of makeup and her technique and the way how she do her makeup. I think her way of doing makeup is very unique. Like, I rarely see someone else do the same as her, and I feel like she just do everything on her face with a purpose. So I loved her for a couple years. So when I saw this palette, I was very excited because not only because it's her palette, but also it's because the color story is something I really like. It's more of the like purple, like dreamy kind of theme, which is very on brand of her. All these years of me watching her tutorials, I can tell that she is very in love with the shade purple or lavender. So yeah, this is a very her palette. I just bought it immediately. So before today, I already used this palette about twice, and I was like kind of using the like more of the neutral shades. And today I did a swatch of all of these shades. And I will show you the clips right now. So I'm gonna just say some of my thoughts as I show you those clips. I feel like this palette is not a very consistent palette when it comes to formula, because it's really like every shade is a different quality than the others. Even they are the same finish. Like the glitter toppers, one can be like very lackluster and the other can be super beautiful. And also the matte shades, I feel like more neutral shades are less pigmented, and the standing out shades like the very beautiful purple, rosy, purpley, or more of the blue toned shades are super pigmented. But at the same time, they are more powdery or like even a little bit chalky. Maybe that's what they are going for, so that they can make the shades more vibrant. So that's my thought. And the more neutral shade is not as powdery, but it's less pigmented. And the shimmers, the metallics, it's really every shade feel different. There's one shade that I can go with just one swipe and it was full pigmentation, but the other could be like almost a nothing shade. I was swirling and swirling and swirling, and there's almost nothing come on my finger, and there's nothing transferring on my skin. Well, not literally nothing, but very small amount. And it was so firm. And some glitters, it's very chunky and not fit onto the skin super nicely, but the other glitters could be super beautiful. They fit on the lid so nicely. So it's like every shade is different. It's a different formula, I feel like. So as the two neutral looks I have done with this, it was like easy to use palette. Like I said, the neutral shades are more soft. So even though it wasn't that pigmented, but I was able to build the shade up, and I was using one of the more beautiful glitter toppers on my lid, so I was able to achieve a pretty nice look. And I think today I am gonna use the more colorful colors in this, which is the more purpley toned, which is the reason why I bought this palette. I want to just tell you some individual shades that I think is very nice, very beautiful, I really love, and other shades that I literally hate. So the first row, this shade, it is beautiful. I don't know if you can see, it's a very, very beautiful glitter topper. Like this shade, I don't know how to describe it. It feels so luxury, and the finish is so nice. It fits on the skin, on the lid so beautifully, and there's little to no fallout. And the finish is a little bit similar to the ColourPop Super Shock shadow, but it's like maybe even more creamier. It's not as like crumbly, like, you know, the very chunky glittery Super Shock shadow. They are beautiful, but they have some fallout sometimes. But this don't have those kind of fallout, so it's very beautiful. And the second row, I think this shade is very beautiful. It's like I don't know, a peachy nude shade. This is one of the more pigmented neutral shade that I really like. And this brown shade is very beautiful, very pigmented, and very smooth. And this is one of the more beautiful formulas in this palette. And this shade is like, I don't know, it's like a lackluster shade. It's a little flaky. It's like the pigmentation is like okay, but it's a little flaky and not so shiny as how chunky the formula is. So it's like just okay shadow. You can use it, but it's not like super amazing or anything. And the center row, the bigger pans, this row is the most disappointing row in my opinion. Like the only shade I loved is this and all of the other big ones I don't really like, which is kind of bad because, you know, they're in the center and they have the bigger pan. You would assume that they would be the star of the palette or the statement colors in the palette, and the formula would be amazing, but it's not quite how it is. Like these two shades are like so warm, like especially this shade. You see how I'm like swirling like crazy, and you can see how much I'm getting on my finger. Like especially this shade is like I'm swirling like definitely over 10 times, and this is how much I'm getting. And if you swatch this on your skin, it's gonna transfer even less than this. And also this, it's like I don't really like this center row, and this color is the only one that I really loved. It's a super pretty purple like glitter topper kind of thing. It's super creamy. And you would think this shade would be the same formula, right? But it's not. It's like just an okay shade. Like on the finger it probably looks nice, but on the lid, first of all, it doesn't transfer on your lid very nicely for some reason. It's like you would think that these two are very similar formulas. Well, it feels similar on the finger, but when you apply on your lid, it's different. This don't transfer very well, but this one did. And this one looks like a nothing on the lid, and this one looks super beautiful. So I don't know why that is. And this shade is nice. It's like a nice brown shade. So this whole big pan row, like I love this, I am okay with this, and I hate the rest. And like the bottom row, like these little shimmers, they are just so stiff and it couldn't get much pigmentation and shine of it. And these three are pretty nice, but it's not like a super, how to say, like super amazing. It's just, it's good. It's nice. I can use it. And the rest of them is like, I feel like the bottom two rows are just okay. Like they are not like super amazing, but they are also not super bad. It's just okay. The mattes in this palette, I much prefer the top two row. So just from right now, I don't think this palette is gonna be my favorite palette or anything. But I guess it's not fair to say it without trying it enough. So I'm gonna actually create a look with this on the camera. So since I have already used a lot of neutral shades in this palette, today I am focusing on more of the purpley shades. So I want to put down this shade as a base all over my lid, and it's quite powdery. I just lightly touch my brush in the pen, and this is what it looks like. It's quite powdery. It's like it's applying okay. It's not super patchy, but it's also not super easy to blend or anything. I think if you work on the formula, it could work. Not bad. So this eye. Okay, the base are down. Let's put some colorful shades on. So I'm thinking this shade. When I was watching this palette, this shade is one of the ones that is standing out the most. And I think this shade is like more of the reason that people purchase this palette. So it's not bad. It's pretty nice. Like for this kind of more of a pastel-y kind of shade, I feel like a lot of times they either don't have enough pigmentation, or it looks like a different color when you blend on your lid. But this one is okay. I think the color it transferred the true color on your lid, and it is pigmented. You just have to build it a little bit, but you don't have to work too hard to build it. So I think it's a quite easy to use formula for this shade. Nice. Yeah, I really do love this shade. So want to use another standing out shade, which is this one, also a purple shade, because I was almost excited to use the purple shade in this. The purple shade looks super beautiful. Oh, it's pretty nice. It's the same as the last one, that it transferred the true color on your lid, and it's not very patchy. Of course, it's not a 100% pigmentation like from start, but you can build it. I really like these matte purpley shades. And I'm thinking I want to use the last shade a little bit on the lower lash line. Now I want to layer some shimmer shades on my eye. So I'm thinking to use this shade. And it's one of the just okay shade. I swirled 3 times in the pan and this is what I get. So it's not like a super pigmented shadow. And also you can see on the lid it's also not that amazing. And this is what I'm talking about, the okay shades. It's not like you can't make them work, but you do need to do some work to make them work, if that makes sense. And I am gonna use one of my favorite shades in the palette, which is this one. And I think this one is the one that will make more of a difference. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like much more beautiful than the last one. I don't know if that's transferring on the camera, but I just much prefer this formula than the last one. And I think they kind of serve the same vibe on the lid. And also I want to show you this shade. This shade is, like I said, it's also one of my favorite in this palette. I don't know if you can really tell, but this is like the flaky glitter, but it's super beautiful. Can you even tell? I hope every glitter is this same formula in the pan. So now I show you the couple purple shades on my eye. I want to layer some others because I was just wanting to try those shades, so I ended up with this look. But today actually I was really wanting to do a more warmer kind of eye look, so I want to layer some warmer shades on my eye. I want to use this shade. It's like a matte shades with a couple glitter in it, and I want to just give my eye a little warmth. This also is one of the just okay shades. Like you can see, it's not super pigmented. It mostly was blurring the edge and blending with the purple, then covering it, which I'm not mad with. It's okay because it blends pretty nicely. Okay, and this peachy brown shade to warmer the lower lash line a little bit. This shade works a little bit better on the bare lid because I think the formula is just a little bit drier. So lastly, I want to show you this shade, the shade I was talking about that don't do much on your eye. I am going to put this one on the first half of my lower lash line. I don't know if you can even tell. It's not like nothing, but it surely doesn't do much, and it has fallout. I don't know if you can tell. Like this half, I have put all of those glitters on my eye and there's rarely any fallout. And this half, I just put a little bit of this almost non-showing shade, and there's a ton of glitter fallout on this part. So I'm not sure why the formula of these two are that different. Like, it looks like they're the same formula, it's the same pattern in the pan, and it feels the same when you swirl it, but it just applies so different on the eye. I don't know why. And yeah, when I'm applying this, it's also starting to falling out on my cheek. I just don't understand. And normally you'd think the more neutral shade would perform better than the more like purpley, this kind of bluey kind of shadow, but I don't know why it just didn't. So now I'm just using the first shade, which is more of a creamy beige shade, to cleaning the edge because I have a fat finger. Okay, this is it, and I'm gonna put on some liner and some mascara. So the eyes are done. I don't know how do you think, but I actually like the look I have done. It's like more of a smoky purple kind of eye look, which I really like. Even though I used a lot of cool toned purple, but I blend some warmer shade to the crease, so it's more of, you know, melting with my very warm olive skin tone. So I do really like the look I created today. The final thoughts, which could be a little earlier to say because I only used this palette about 3 times, and I only used about half of the shades in this palette, so maybe I shouldn't say this early, but I just want to give my thought at this point. So I think overall this palette, 1/3 of the colors are really amazing, really nice. It's more of a I won't say it's like super high-end, but it's definitely not a cheap quality. But 1/3 of the shadow is just okay. It's not like super amazing, but it's also not nice. It's also not bad, so you can work with them, you can pair them with other shades, they works. But the last 1/3 of the shadow, I don't want to be rude, but I do think they are just a little bit trash. I just don't have other words to it because they are like so stiff, like they are lackluster, they are so sheer, and I just don't know about them. I just have to say there's 1/3 of the shades I hate in this palette. So overall, I want to say I am a little bit regret of purchasing this palette, because even though it's a super big palette for, I think it's 34 or 35, like around that kind of price. So for that price, such a big palette, it's not a bad deal. But also I feel like nowadays we have a lot of choices when it comes to this kind of price tag and this kind of big palette. I think you can get a lot better quality eyeshadows from other brands, like this kind of big eyeshadows. As for example, ColourPop. ColourPop's formula beats this 10 times, really. Even though the amazing shade, I feel like the amazing shade in this is like a good ColourPop quality, and the okay shades or the bad shades is just not as good as ColourPop. And I feel like there's one thing that I really like about ColourPop eyeshadow is that they're pretty consistent. Maybe some shades would be you know, better than the others, but overall they are pretty consistent. But this palette, there's nothing consistent about this palette. Like I said in the beginning, it almost feels like every shade just has a different formula to it. I think Pony did a very good job at selecting the shade. The shades are super beautiful. Like it's not like other big Morphe palette that you see so many repeating shades. But in this palette, I feel like it has a very good wide range of colors that you can create a lot of different looks. So yeah, I do think Pony did a very good job on choosing the shade, but the formula is just not it. I don't think Morphe did a good job on the formula. So yeah, I think this might be the last eyeshadow palette purchase from Morphe for me. I just don't want to purchase another eyeshadow from them after this, because I have such high hope on this palette, because the formula, the color just looks super amazing. And even though I said 1/3 of the shades are super nice, I can just get the same from ColourPop. So yeah, like overall I feel like this is a half disappointed purchase of me, and I am already considering to declutter this one, because I am that kind of people that if I don't like that thing, I just declutter it immediately. I might just declutter this one not long after this. I think I might give it a couple more try, but yeah, I'm not really liking this palette. That's my thought. I think this might be the most negative review that I ever did, but it was my honest thought on this, and I paid this with my own money, and I just want to say my honest feel about this. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.